lives could be lost when storms of an absolute massive scale lash Victoria from Friday morning. With freak winds, torrential rain and lots of lightning, the Bureau has warned, more than 300 millimeters of rain will fall across all parts of the state, starting in western Victoria and arriving in Melbourne by midday Friday. Rain has begun in the state's southwest this evening, with Warrnambool, Port Campbell and Mortlake among the towns seeing the most rain. This system is drifting southeast, with the biggest part set to bypass Lorne as it moves out to sea. Stawell, Ararat and Beaufort are experiencing moderate rainfall this evening, but it's only a fraction of what's anticipated tomorrow, with the freak weather event predicted to be stronger than anything seen in Melbourne since 2005 and regional Victoria since 2010. Bureau of Meteorology senior meteorologist Scott Williams said it was similar to what you'd see in tropical Cairns. It is an event that poses a threat to life. There will be a massive amount of lightning. There will be roads cut, floodwaters, he told media on Thursday afternoon. I think this event will turn farms into lakes. Quote, the unprecedented weather event will dump an entire summer's worth of rain over the next 4 days. Despite the forecast rain, Melbourne reached a top of 35°C as the city endures a last blast of heat before the clouds descend. A grass fire at Sunshine West around 3 p.m. this afternoon took more than an hour to bring under control, with approximately 50 hectares of grassland burned. High levels of smoke saw trains slowed and a community warning issued for the area. The blaze has been deemed suspicious. What we know so far. Emergency Services Commissioner Craig Lapsley said, vulnerable Victorians in low-lying areas should consider relocating for the weekend. Now is the time to ask for family support, neighborhood support, he said. We also need to reach out and be good community citizens. We need to reach to the people who might need our help. Quote, people were also warned not to park cars in underground car parks and to ensure gutters were cleared. SES Operations Manager Tim Webush urged people not to drive through floor water. We are particularly keen to make sure people don't drive through flash flood waters, he said. It only takes 15 centimeters of water for a small vehicle to float. We don't want to unnecessarily tie up our valuable emergency service resources over the next few days with vehicles stranded. Now is the time for Victorians to start being alert to our weather conditions over the next 3 days. Quote, Mr. Williams, who works at the Bureau's extreme weather desk, said the weather event would be muggy, but cool southerly winds would roll in on Sunday. It will be very humid and unstable across the state, he said. Rain has already begun falling in western Victoria this afternoon, with the worst of the storms expected on Friday evening and Saturday morning, delivering at least 100 millimeters. That's about 3 times the average rainfall we would see in Melbourne in the month of December. Just in the first 3 days of December, which is quite extraordinary, he said. From 6 a.m., rain is expected in western parts of Victoria. From 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., rain is expected in Geelong and western parts of Melbourne. By lunchtime it will pass through Melbourne. By 5 p.m., it will be in eastern parts of the state. 150 millimeters to 200 millimeters for Ballarat and Bendigo. Melbourne will probably see, at the very least, 50 millimeters to 100 millimeters. The surrounding hills and catchments will see 100 millimeters to 150 millimeters. He said Melbourne on Sunday morning could see another burst of 50 to 60 plus millimeters. That could coincide potentially with flood waters from the night before coming down the Yarra and Maribyrnong. There is a high tide on Port Phillip Bay on Sunday morning. I'm not an expert in predicting how all those things could come together, but I know if we get gale force southwesterly winds, a high tide, 150 millimeters in Melbourne over 2 days, that's 3 times the December average over 2 days, and rain rates like that, we are going to have massive flooding around the city. Quote, Premier Daniel Andrews used question time in state parliament this morning to warn Victorians to follow all weather warnings and advice. Metropolitan Melbourne could be drenched by up to 150 millimeters of rain, more than the entire rainfall of an average summer, with the worst of the weather due to hit early Saturday. Bureau of Meteorology senior forecaster Richard Carleon said he expected to see